Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ashley Manic, aka Jupiter, and I am coming at you with my first podcast. This is going to be a little bit of arena. It's called On the Line, and it's going to have a myriad of topics. This first topic is going to be about conspiracy theories. So, what this is about is somebody's going to call in, or I'm actually going to dial out, and we're just going to chat it up. Kind of get a groove going, vibe out, and just see where the thing goes. So the first person that I am going to reach out to is my man Brad Lee on Facebook. So let me just call him real quick. I'm actually going to do a FaceTime. Hello? Yeah. That's my Jersey. That's my inner Jersey talking. Okay, guys, so I have got my best Facebook friend, always likes all of my shit. I always like his shit. We've got a deep spiritual Facebook connection. His Facebook name is Bradley. Is that your real name?
Yeah, not spelled that way, but yeah, it is the way it is. My name is actually Bradley.
Bradley, aka Bradley.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thanks for wanting to be a part of my first podcast. This is going to be interesting. I'm excited to get in there, get inside your head, and talk conspiracy theories with you.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me. It's been a very, I want to say, thoughtful year. There's been a lot of things that have come into play, and it's like, yeah, conspiracies. Are they truth or conspiracies?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's been that kind of year where all you have to do being in quarantine, you just kind of sit at home and come up with conspiracy theories. Like there's nothing else for you to possibly do except for make shit up in your brain because you can't go out and see what's really going on, right?
Exactly. Like, where did this come from? Who started it? Like, has it always been here? Have we always been dying at this number? Didn't even know? Like, are the numbers even real?
Scary shit, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you know what happens to people? We just kind of sit at home and we start thinking about all this type of shit. I never thought in my day I would have experienced a pandemic. Like Ebola happened and I was like, all right, Ebola, whatever, this shit isn't real. And then COVID-19 happened and then it started getting serious. After the first 3 weeks when it didn't disappear, I was like, shit, we're all gonna die.
Wasn't like the swine flu a pandemic too? Like,
Yeah, the swine flu, which was the SARS virus. It was or no, it wasn't. That was the streptococcal something.
H1N1, whatever the hell it is.
So before we get into it, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you like to do. Shout out to anybody.
Well, it's Valentine's Day, so I guess the only shout out I have to do has to be to my girl, you know.
Aw, that's so cute.
But a little bit about myself. I guess you can kind of consider me a modern Renaissance man. I about myself eat anything and everything. It's just really what's in my interest at that moment in time or whatever I feel like finding an interest in. As far as what some of those things are, I play with the video cameras. I play
Awesome.
basketball. I'm very competitive, so if you know anybody that wants it on the court, let me know. You know, I'm down to make some videos and embarrass a couple people for Facebook, and it is what it is.
Gotcha. I do know a few people that like to what was the name of that street over on Windsor Avenue in Westfield? I remember that they used to have like this basketball thing like every year, West Broad Street versus Windsor. That was a good one. I don't think I ever went to one. I'm reminiscing like I was there. Like, yeah, that was great, but no, I don't think I've ever actually been to one.
Wow, I didn't know about that one. Well, if this pandemic thing ever blows over, I'm gonna check that out. See what's going on with that.
Right? So where in New Jersey are you located again?
I'm actually in Roselle Park at the moment.
Fun.
Making plans on trying to transition out of state and making moves to moving on to bigger and better things.
Gotcha. How are the cops out there? Are they still assholes?
They will always be assholes. They're cops.
True. That is a conversation for later. But yeah, I can talk about cops all day. But
Yes. Yeah. The cops.
yeah.
Actually, one of the Roselle Park cops where I lived actually ran his car into another car and killed himself.
Oh, was
like
this
last summer,
during the whole
like
Black
last
Lives
summer.
Matter protest? Like the
Uh,
most recent one?
I don't know if it was about a protest. No, it wasn't even about the protest. He just randomly decided he was gonna crash his car into another car and kill himself.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's
Yeah,
easy because I know I think about doing that at least 3 times a day, especially on my way to work.
yeah, but I'm pretty sure you haven't considered being a cop.
No, absolutely not. So let's get into this. Let's talk conspiracy theories. The first conspiracy theory that I want to touch base on is the vaccine. Now, you know that I've had the vaccine,
Yeah.
but I still have conspiracy theories about it. I still come up with them daily. I want to know your thoughts personally on the COVID-19 vaccine.
Here's my thoughts. My thoughts on it are, well, for me, it's a good fail-safe because I'm never gonna take it, but I see other people taking it, and I see how they react to it. And if it ever comes down to, hey, you have to take this vaccine, I'm probably still never going to take it because I'm a firm believer in it's absolutely redundant to inject yourself with something that's already infecting the world. That's like aiding and abetting. You get what I'm saying? Like it's in my opinion, for something this serious, especially for it to be this soon, I it's far too risky for me. There's a doctor that took it and died like 4 days later or something like that.
Yeah, that guy in
And
Florida, the OBGYN doctor.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure that case isn't isolated, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people, if they weren't ever going to contract this disease, like we don't even know what makes you susceptible to it.
Yeah.
You might be someone who already has these antibodies that keep it from doing whatever it's doing to the population of people that it does infect, and we just don't know enough about it. And if we do know that much about it, we should have already knew about it before everyone started dying.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I like your idea of redundancy. I don't think that's a conspiracy theory at all, actually. I think that it is a little bit redundant to infect people. I mean, there's a little bit there's two sides to that. I mean, it is redundant to want to inject people with something that's already infecting all of us. Doesn't make sense because if you catch it, then you catch it. But one thing I do want to mention on that redundancy is that the vaccine does not use a live virus, which is kind of the cool part, which made me want to try it, besides my own family reasons. But it uses the mRNA, which is a dangerous thing that we'll probably get into. But it uses the mRNA to trick your body into thinking that it has COVID-19.
isn't that the same thing as having COVID-19?
Yes, yes. And I think that what they're aiming for is that it's less risky that way because if you have the actual live virus in you, then you have like a really high chance of already dying. And this isn't, I mean, I'm not like all for it. I'm just going based off of what I've heard, especially like working in a hospital myself. It's if you have the actual live virus, you have more of a chance, more of a percentage of dying. If you have the fake virus, the trickster virus, then in their eyes, they're thinking that they're kind of doing a favor. They're developing immunity without actually killing as
You're
many
breaking up.
people that would die with the virus.
You're back. You're kind of back now. No, you're still breaking up. But I heard a majority of what you said, and you're absolutely right. But in my opinion, that's the conspiracy right there. Is it population control? Because people were already dying at an accelerated pace, and now it pretty much seems like we're trying to figure out another way to add to that toll rather than waiting it out and seeing if it is a plague like most plagues. We do live in modern times, and humanity's a lot cleaner in general than we were back in the medieval days. So why not let people generate their own antibodies to this? Why are you forcing such a quick patent so soon? What kind of agenda are you running? Are you or if if population control is real, which it definitely seems to be real, because let's be completely honest, every single thing that we do kills us, everything that we eat kills us, everything that we enjoy kills us. What goal are you ultimately trying to gain? Is there too many people to control? Is what's been going on with the government the reason for this? What's going on? Is power slipping? Is who's making the calls now?
Yeah, and it's a scary thing to think that way and to feel like there's population control or like hidden agendas. I know sometimes I start tripping out, especially after I've had like a blunt or something. I start tripping out and be like, oh my God, they're going to come kill us. And it's definitely a scary thing to get into. I have a conspiracy theory. Are you ready for this one? So my conspiracy theory is that, and this involves politics, because I think Trump is a dick, right? But he did do some good things. Every person that's an asshole is capable of doing some good things, and Trump did do some good things. So my conspiracy theory, what I did in my alone quarantine time, was think that the Democrats were trying to get Trump out of office. And this virus did exactly that. It made him look like a piece of shit, which I already think he was, but publicly, because they control the media and all of that, I think publicly it made him look like a piece of shit, wasn't getting anything done. It got the people tired of it. Everybody's bored. They don't want to quarantine anymore. They want their lives back together. They want to be able to do stuff, see their families, and people to stop dying. And then as soon as Biden's in office, we have the vaccine. Everything's going to go back to normal. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just a little bit bigger of a game.
Exactly. That's exactly the point I'm trying to get at. What game is this? Who's playing the games, and what are they aiming for? Mm-hmm. Is population control the ultimate outcome? Is it a brand new way of trying to transform what's normal society into something different or greater than what it is now? What is it? Because right now, times are crazy. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's crazy. It's revolutionary. Mm-hmm. People are a lot more educated now than they were back then. So they're standing up for. Excuse me. So now they're standing up for themselves, or they're standing up for what they know is right, rather what someone else told them was right. So, maybe this virus is a way to wean them out. Get rid of everybody that's been thinking too much. Things are changing way too much, and
interesting.
I don't think everyone's ready for it yet.
Interesting. So kind of eliminating the woke. You know what I mean? Kind of like getting rid of the people that are starting to wake up. I gotcha. I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying. And the suicide rates have just been skyrocketing. People with addictions and people with depression and anxiety, not being able to get out of the house during this quarantine, the suicide rates are going crazy up. And that brings me to my next conspiracy theory, the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, the pharmaceutical industry. In my opinion, they're here to breed profits and not make cures. Mm-hmm. They're not here to make it better. They're here to make you feel like you're better until you die. Just like everything else in this world and society. Your government does that. Your friends do that. It's just like
treating symptoms, not the actual problem.
Exactly.
Got it.
That they could be using to actually cure you, or go down the route of finding a more organic way of treating things. They're going towards the chemical aspect. Mm-hmm. It's like they're not playing by the real rules of alchemy. They're what they're giving you and the price that you're paying for isn't exactly equivalent. You might get rid of your slight paranoia, but now you're suicidal and you might kill yourself 2 years after taking these pills. It's a little bit again redundant. It's like everything just revolves around redundancy.
It really does. Like the whole population control thing. Like, let's really look at this. They're doing a real shitty job because we're at like 7, almost 8 billion people now. Like, there is no population control at all. And this whole quarantine thing is, I work at OBGYN. Let me just tell you how many new pregnant patients we have within the last year. It is not working, population control.
Yeah, everything is working against what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. It's like how long did slavery last before that didn't last anymore? Mm-hmm. How long the Mongolian Empire last before that didn't last anymore? So whatever they're doing, it's working against them, just like everything else. So you would think that they would learn and just give everybody their rights and actually run things the way they're supposed to be run, but
just kind of let us be free, right?
Yeah, right. But they'd rather just not.
No, I get it. And it doesn't make sense to me because I feel like human beings, we're coded with the what's the word I'm looking for? With like the guidance of the earth and the universe. Like we are made out of the earth and we're made out of the universe. So we have these natural this natural intuition and internal guidance to be able to live the way that we're supposed to do. But
Yeah,
the people who are greedy and the people who are on top and recognize this just can't seem to contain themselves and want to control everything and be in charge of everything. And look what it's doing. Our planet is dying. Our people are crazy. We have poor communities. We have starvation, like all because
yeah,
people get greedy.
yeah. They've gotten too cocky. They release their thoughts and emotions on the earth and have completely relied on capitalism and money.
Mm.
What now makes them happy is actually not what earth provides. So it's pretty much they put themselves above God, and it's how long can this farce last?
Yeah. And you know what? That brings me to another conspiracy theory, religion. I just want to talk on religion for a second. I think that saying that we were made in God's image is such a vague statement. Like, of course, we're made out of God, but like, I think that saying that we are made in God's image puts us at the same level of God, that we have the control over those things because we have that free will. And it just kind of brings us right to where we are right now.
Yeah, I think that's just translation, and I don't think people should really take the Bible or whatever they're reading seriously. And that's not to offend anyone. I think it's
Oh,
more of a
absolutely.
thought process, like what it says. It's like a dream reading. You can die in a dream, but when you die in a dream, it doesn't mean you're gonna die in real life. It means that you're gonna be reborn, or you're gonna have something's gonna happen in your life that's gonna change everything that's been happening before. So it's like sorry,
Oh, no, you're fine.
keep breaking up. I lost my train of thought again, right? Can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
I
it
lost
wasn't.
my train of thought. Sorry, that happens a lot.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, it wasn't. You're smoking that devil's lettuce. So it wasn't really. It wasn't really a question. It was more of a statement about how religion and misinterpretation of it can just kind of lead people in the wrong direction. And then you were talking about how that's exactly what it is. It's your perception, and if you take it too far, then it can just kind of go a certain way.
Yes. It's like there's over 3,000 religions in the world, and everyone believes theirs is the right one, and they would do anything to prove that right, to prove that what they've dedicated their entire lives to believing correct. They would kill another person. Everything in the Bible, the consequence for it is death. It's like, if you take it that literal, then the people that follow are gonna be on this warped level of thinking. I don't know. What was the name of that? It was a group of people with this dude where he started leading them, and they were followers of Christian, but he made his own form of Christianity. And I think at the end of it all, he convinced 700 people to commit suicide with him when he died.
Oh,
Or
I've seen
something,
that.
like Jacksonville, something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I can't remember what it was either. But yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
So.
anything you want to talk about? Any conspiracy theories? What do you got cooking in there?
Like I said, to me, it's not my thought process is not necessarily a conspiracy, because I feel like everything comes from somewhere. If you have a thought, if you don't act on it, eventually someone else is. It's like a connected network. I feel like the human brain and every entity that's in existence is like you said, part of a connection system through the planet. Like, we're all connected. Like, we've all thought, if you haven't thought about something, eventually I would have thought about it.
Yeah.
So conspiracies to me it's kind of like that. Maybe someone is going through something that is in control of a whole bunch of people's lives, and this is what they're thinking about continuously, and they're projecting that thought into an individual that's so far away from them they don't even know each other, and that individual is like out of nowhere this thought comes to his head, and he's like, yo,
Right,
for
right,
some
right.
reason I've been thinking about this all day, like I have no idea why, but I feel like this is probably what's going on, and I feel that connection is probably what they're trying to break with the system they've put in place,
Honestly,
and
and you
it's
can't.
not working.
You really can't. Have you ever heard, that makes me want to talk about two things. Have you ever heard about the experiment, or I don't even know if it was an experiment, but definitely look it up when you have a chance if you haven't heard of this. There was these monkeys that were in like a reservation, and I don't know if they were chimpanzees or what kind of monkey, but it was some sort of monkey species, and they were taught to wash their food before they ate it. And then it turns out that there was monkeys across the world that were doing the same exact thing, that just picked up the habit out of nowhere. They just started washing their food before they ate it. It's because it's all like interconnected.
Exactly.
And that also brings me to this recent science experiment. I cannot remember the name of it, but when it first happened, I was so excited. It's in this book called Vibrational Medicine. There's this whole doctor that kind of goes on this quest to, and like a real like MD, like went to med school, did his residency, was a doctor for a long time, and he kind of got fed up with the pharmaceutical industry and the way that they do things in Western medicine. So he started researching vibrational medicine and found out that the sympathetic energy is like a real thing, how we're all connected. And as soon as I remember the name of it, I'll tell you. But he did this, or not he, I think it was in Russia or China. They did this experiment where they had two samples. I can't remember if it was plants or if it was animal DNA or whatever it was. But they had two samples, and they were both right next to each other under a microscope, right? And when they kind of put like a toxic chemical on one, the other one started to react. But here's the interesting part. The reaction, like the sympathetic type deal, only worked when they used a crystal slide, like in the microscope. If they would have used the glass one, it blocked off that connection. Now, really think about that. If we're going to go conspiracy, think about it. What are our houses made out of? We've got wood, we've got glass windows, we've got glass screens, we've got glass everything that kind of disconnects that connection that we have. Especially
Yeah,
if
I
that
think
crystal thing is
cigarettes
true.
have like fiberglass in it.
Huh?
I think like even cigarettes have like fiberglass in it.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely look into it. I cannot remember what it was called. It's in this book. It's a really good audio book by that MD.
Maybe they're trying to block the peripheral gland. I think that's what it was called. I remember reading something about it somewhere
Yeah.
a while ago. I think it's pretty much our imagination.
Mhm.
They're trying to keep it contained. They're trying to keep us modernized and in routine rather than explorative and ambitious in our own accord.
Yeah, because not the pineal gland, but the pituitary gland, doesn't it release some sort of chemical that is also released in the dream state, like the DMT?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think there are a couple people who believe that to the extent that they indulge in certain drugs to access that sort of, I guess you can consider it a superpower.
And it's crazy because I read like a whole bunch of different stories of different people's experiences. I even went to a psychic that told me I was going to try DMT someday, and she started telling me the experience that I was going to have, and it was like the same experience that all these people had. They get shot out of their body. Have you ever done it?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. So so I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that like, people don't experiment. Everybody experiments. So
That's the point of life.
the
That's what they don't want you to do. And
it,
that's the point of this whole session. Don't do what they tell you to do.
right.
Unless it benefits you, then go ahead and do it. But if it's not benefiting you in some way, don't let them take away from you like they're taking away from everything else.
Exactly. It's just a control thing. It's like a controlling mother, our government. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
wants the best for us, but really just needs to let go. Like, let the kids be kids. Let us do stuff. Let us experiment, find out who we really are. Because then you got
Yes.
people that are like 80 years old and regret every decision that they made in their life. Sorry. So,
It's all right.
so the DMT story, what I heard is you get shot out of your body. You either meet your higher self or you meet like a group of spiritual beings that kind of like greet you, kind of sit you down, tell you what you've done wrong in your life. And then I heard that the higher the dose, you actually end up meeting like all these little like gnome type people. And then they're all
Yeah.
excited that you're visiting them and they know who you are. And then and it's like across the board, people giving the same story.
Yeah, I think what it is like everyone does it in expectation of some that they were missing a part of themselves that they're looking for, or an answer to a question that no one else around has. So they're looking for a higher power, and religion just isn't doing it, and an adult controlling their life, and their government just isn't doing it. So maybe this little fairy powder can do it for them.
Right.
As
right.
far as that experience, I think it's different for everyone, but the concept is the same. It's like there's a higher being than yourself, and it's within yourself, and you can get there if you just do the right things to get there. And the right things is within yourself. So stop letting what's outside control exactly what you know is on the inside.
Yeah.
I think. And back to what you were saying about God being made in your image, I think what that means is that we as humans, we're gods. When we make children, they look just like us, and they do everything that we say. They follow everything that we do, and if we fuck up and we do something wrong, they could turn out to be someone that destroys an entire nation or fucks an entire system. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
So, I think that's what that means. And some parents try to escape the responsibility of raising their children to be good people, and they try to put it on God. Like, look, you can't do this because God.
Oh, you're breaking up.
You can't do this because the wrong thing doing. You don't want to hurt someone.
Gotcha. It's sped up. No, I totally understand. And that's like this one quote. I don't mean to get too off topic, but it's like this one quote from the Bible that I heard and I never even read the full Bible, but this one quote that somebody said stuck out to me, said that our children would be our savior. And that's such a vague, bullshit, on the nose statement that makes me so mad. Because that's really true. Like on a practical level, yeah, our children are our saviors. Like my kids saved my life. But then what other way can we be saved? Obviously it's going to be our kids. Like our kids are going to be the one that saved the planet. If not, then their kids, and if not, then their kids. So it's the most vague statement that makes so much sense in a million different ways, which I think the whole Bible is made up of.
Yeah, I think the famous quote is, "The youth shall inherit the revolution," or something like that.
Something like that. So, but I think that about wraps up the time. I don't want to go too past here just for my first, I'm sure we'll probably chat again. I want to keep like the same people around, but definitely thank you for sharing your time, your thoughts, your ideas. We'll probably have a conspiracy theories part 2 somewhere in the near future, because this could be a 3-hour long conversation. But thank you for reaching out, responding first to my comment, and for your time. Honestly, I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me, and I apologize for the last minute car setting. I planned to be inside, but I kind of have a couple people inside. We're playing dominoes today. It's my cousin's birthday, so yeah, I get shout out to cousin, Ace.